And that's Jackson Prosco in Washington. Thanks, Jackson. To Gaza now, where there are reports a deadly Israeli airstrike hit a designated humanitarian zone. The Hamas-run health ministry says at least 90 people were killed in an attack on the Al-Mawasi area west of Han Yunis, and about 300 more people were injured. Local officials say Nasser Hospital, one of the largest and few remaining hospitals in the Gaza Strip, is overwhelmed by the influx of civilian casualties and is no longer able to function.
Now we are unable inside the hospital to deal with any more cases, because all the hospital beds are full.
The Hamas-run health ministry says Israel's bombardment hit tents housing displaced Palestinians. Israel claims the attack targeted Hamas leaders, including a military chief accused of being a mastermind behind the October 7 attacks. A UK-based aid group, Al Khair Foundation, disputes this, adding one of its senior employees and 3 other aid workers were killed in the strike. There were tit-for-tat drone strikes between Ukraine and Russia today as the conflict between the two countries rages on. In Ukraine, at least 4 people were killed and dozens of others were injured in attacks in the Kherson and Kharkiv regions. The latter's governor also accused Russian forces of targeting first responders after an initial bombardment. In Russia's southwestern Rostov region, the governor there says a Ukrainian drone strike ignited an oil depot, sparking a 200-square-meter fire. It has since been extinguished, and there were no casualties. It has been a frightening day for thousands of residents in Newfoundland and Labrador. More than 9,000 people have fled Labrador City as wind and heat fuel a threatening wildfire. The out-of-control blaze is near the border with Quebec and closing in on the community. Fire officials say it's now just 6 kilometers away. Mackenzie Mazankowski is following the developments for us tonight.
Thousands of Labrador City residents ordered to evacuate Friday evening.
People here in town started to panic. Gas stations filled up, and up at the grocery stores and stuff, people were up trying to get some stuff.
Hot, dry temperatures and winds gusting up to 30 kilometers an hour. A breeding ground for wildfires.
From what was a 600-hectare, fairly controlled fire to an over 10,000 hectare fire, moving 21 kilometers in just 4 hours.
Residents were told to head east to Happy Valley Goose Bay.
The evacuation was very ill prepared, let's put it that way. It was taking people 3.5 hours to get to the highway to get out of town.
Premier Fury says winds have died down and the fire currently stands 6 kilometers northwest of the city. Officials still reminding residents to stay away.
You can't come back. You can't stress the importance of this is an active fire. It's not gone. There's blue skies and clear skies, and people can assume it's good. It was the same thing yesterday, blue skies and clear skies, and quite quickly it turned.
Crews are working the eastern front of the fire with help from Quebec water bombers.
We're hopeful and confident that other provinces will come to our aid, but again, it's a good partnership already forming with Quebec.
Earlier this year, Saskatchewan sent air tankers to Newfoundland. But with hot temperatures raging across most of the country, almost all provinces have fires of their own to tend to.
But as things have escalated, we will be notifying them that we would like to return those crews to Saskatchewan so that they can be put back to work here.
In northern Alberta, wildfires have forced nearly 1,000 residents from Little Red River Cree Nation.
The fire danger in the province is extreme in the northern parts of the province.
And many provinces are preparing for the worst.
We are starting to have conversations with the U.S. and others in case requests are needed. But at this point, we have no federal request for assistance.
A situation that may soon change as the summer fire season heats up. Mackenzie Mazankowski, Global News, Saskatoon.
In Nova Scotia, it's another day of cleanup for residents following this week's floods, but it's an especially frustrating effort for the community of Windsor. The town's storm drainage system failed, leaving some of the streets to become a murky mess. And as Zach Power explains, it's not the first time residents there have had to endure its problems.
This time it was only up here.
Alicia Hennessy considers herself lucky. Thursday's rain caused flash flooding. The rush of rain led to storm sewers failing again. The street overflowed within a half hour. She says it's the third time this has happened in the last 3 years.
When we knew that these remnants of the hurricane was coming, that's when you really start to panic and you start kicking into gear with, okay, we start moving things up to higher ground.
I fell in my neighbor's yard and went underwater and into sewer water. And it was, from the spot where I fell, it was about 3 feet deep.
This marks the second weekend in a row where roads have been washed out in Nova Scotia. Both downpours brought nearly 100 millimeters of rain.
111, 12, 15 mils in an hour is a lot for any system. The things before that were little things are not little anymore, and it's just giving you a heightened sense of preparedness.
The West Hants Regional Municipality estimates it'll be in the millions to fix the failing system in Windsor. Money the government doesn't have, leaving residents.
We don't feel safe.
And all they can do is be ready.